Hello guys, this is Alex. I'm gonna do another little poker vlog, and I'm gonna tell you about the biggest hero call I ever made in my life. I lost so much money on this trip, I'm probably not gonna discuss the numbers. So anytime I lost a bunch, I'm just gonna say I lost a bunch. So I'm in for a bunch on the 2-5 at Hard Rock. More than 2 buy-ins max. Pre-flop under the gun, I make it 40 with ace-10 of spades. This guy who's on to me makes it 125. I call. The flop comes jack of diamonds, 6 of spades, king of hearts. I have a gutter to the nut straight, and I have a backdoor flush draw with an overcard. Checks to under the gun +1, who makes it 125, which is nothing. He just made it 125 pre-flop, so I call. 3 of spades hits the turn. Now I have the nut flush draw, the gut shot, straight draw, and an overcard. He bets 600. I'm blocking ace king. The only hand he can have is pocket jacks, and there's only a few combos of that, so he's bluffing. I call. Queen of spades hits the river, and I request him to show first since he bet. He shows me 7 deuce offsuit. I limp under the gun with ace 8 off. Under the gun makes it 50. Button, and I call. I dark check the flop of 7-8-8 when I have ace 8 off. It checks to the button who bets 50. I snap raise to 250. Under the gun +1 calls. So he has to have an overpair here, I guess. Turn comes a 6 of spades. I bet 700. He's all in for 710. I call the 10. River comes a king of hearts. I show my hand. He snap mucks. This is where I go to play Omaha after I'm already up like, I don't know, 3,500. I broke even from the home game I played the day before. Oops, I shouldn't be discussing numbers. Well, I went to play Omaha. I ran 200 into 990. Then I lost it. And someone paid me $50 to buy in for 1,000. And he was also going to pay all my time rake. I ended up losing it, and I lost a whole bunch after that, between that and Hold'em. Don't want to talk about it. So I decided to go and play the highest stakes they had to offer. I'm in for 1,003 at the 5-10. I went up 1,200 within the first few minutes, and then back down to even a few minutes after that. Small blind I am. I blind raise the button straddle to 150 and look down at king 8 in the small blind. It comes to the button, which he calls, and the flop comes 8 high, favorable, 8-5 deuce rainbow. I do the old little trick of the $5 min bet. He makes it 160. I raise to 450. He shoves all in. The pot is now $2,040 after I call his all in. We run it twice, and I hold with a pair of 8s, and he cannot believe that I did all that with a pair of 8s. This hand, I'm in the 1-2 table with a $600+ stack. I limp pocket 2s in the cutoff for $2. The button makes it 7. 2 callers. I make it $57 with pocket 2s. 3 people call. 4 ways. Flop is gin. Deuce, deuce, 5. I bet $2. Oh, by the way, there's 2 spades on the flop. I bet $2. They all call. Turn comes a king. I bet $40. 2 of them call, 1 of them folds. River comes an 8. I shove all in with my Louis Vuitton wallet included. I get a call for $75 and show him the bad news. I don't get high hand because I get beat right after for the high hand. Get max value for quads. I have king deuce and been running cold. on this other one too. So I raise to $15 pre-flop and get 2 callers. Flop comes Jack 6-5 rainbow. Check, check, check. I can't bet here because I can get only check raised by a jack. I would only get called by a 6 or a 5, and they'll probably look me up if I check the turn and bet the river. So I just avoid all disaster completely by checking the flop. Turn is a 6. It goes check, check, check. Now I'm convinced that there's nobody who's going to call me. Like a 5 might not even call me if I bet. But I check it. The river comes in 8. It's checked to me. I fire for $155 in a $45 pot. Everyone mucks. I do not show, but one of the players in that hand gets involved in this hand with me. This is the hand right after I bet 155. So this hand, I get pocket jacks. I raise to $20 pre-flop, and I get raised by the same younger kid who was in the previous hand to $60. If I jam here, I might not get called. I want to get max value and also avoid disaster on the flop, so I just smooth call the 60. I flat with over 200 plus effective, hoping for a safe flop, and I'm going to outplay him while he incorrectly calls and raises. The flop is 8-7 deuce rainbow. He checks to me, putting pre-flop coolers out the window. I think he would have bet maybe anywhere between 40 to 160 if he had like any kind of pocket pair. So I go for the old $85 like 60% pot bet to make it look like I'm setting up for a river or a turn jam. And he didn't like that bet, so he snap shoves for his 200 and change, and I call. I request for him to show his hand for my vlog. He shows me ace queen offsuit for him thinking he was value owning me. He was only value owning himself. And I hold with jacks. He doesn't buy back in. He storms off and gives me a fist pump. So, here goes my biggest hero call of all time. My biggest hero call was against someone named Tuna, who we all know in Gainesville. I had 6-4 offsuit in middle position in this 5-10 game in a 3-way $125 3-pot bet of $375. The action went, I limped. My friend Tuna raised in the small blind 3-bet, and I called 125, and he called 125. Flop came 3-4-8. I have middle pair. If I get checked too, I essentially have the nuts because my friend Tuna didn't 4-bet, so he doesn't have an overpair. The 3-better checked to me, so I fire 200 for value and get snapped by Tuna. Turn is an 8, which is a blank. I check, planning on checking twice and calling any river but an ace. The river comes a king. I check. Tuna fires 600. I snap call and he mucks. I win a pot of $1,975 with a pair of 4s.
That is the craziest fucking thing.
Quads versus boat versus straight versus boat. What is that?